Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the All Star Wrestling Review Series for August the 8th, 1981. And we continue our foray into the this particular run. I think we're going to end up with just over 140 of these by the time we're done with them, unless the network uploads some more, but that's okay. We literally do have nearly 1900. We're going to cross into 1900 this weekend, I'm pretty sure. Audio is available for your listening pleasure on a variety of topics and such, so certainly enough for you to listen to for sure. Again, kind of going into eventually the next series after this one is officially going to be the Mid Atlantic Wrestling Series. So that's kind of a cool thing there, and hopefully that's something that you are cool with, and you'll enjoy that as well as you have enjoyed these. Um, and hopefully, we continue to be of value and do that in a meaningful and continual way. As mentioned, this is the All Star Wrestling Review Series. Of course, the show beginning in 1971. We did not get, I don't think the first 4 years anywhere is available on a consistent basis. Um, I'm not necessarily a fan of all of that, but it is what it is, and this is a unique time in a number of ways. Not limited to the fact that at the end of the day we have a bunch of new stars or newer stars, for lack of a better term, coming into the promotion and trying to ply their trade for a number of reasons, as it were. This is a time right before, a couple of years before Vince uh, Kennedy McMahon takes over, and accordingly, he's lining up, even though people wouldn't necessarily fully see it that way, lining up the individuals who would be in the position of authority when he takes over. You begin to see that here. S.D. Jones and Ron Shaw. S.D. Jones, again, manages to be a guy who, for the most part, is a um, enhancement talent guy for the 70s and right through, 88, 89. I never get to see SD, so I think he left by 89 when I got there, or maybe he was on other shows. Anyway, Ron Shaw could have been more head scissors takeover and basic stuff there. Nothing necessarily worth writing home about, but you get to see the continuation of the run of SD Jones. Jones also more of a collegiate style star than he's probably given credit for in a number of ways here, and we kind of do see Jones taking a step back a little bit with a couple of things, and short knee by Ron Shaw. Shaw managing to do everything he possibly can to get things going in a direction that is satisfying to him. And again, Jones, with the side headlock takeover, takes the guy over. A couple of shots along the way, crossbody and the neckbreaker by Jones. Jones managing to get the victory. Never really understood why his adversary here was not in a position of authority there. Um, but is what it is. Killer Khan comes in. Keep in mind, Killer Khan is a guy who has taken matters into his own hands with the elimination of Mr. Rick McGraw. Steve King is the opponent for the aforementioned Killer Khan here, and basic stuff along the way. Not exactly a super match by any stretch of the imagination, but punch kick. And Fred Blassie is happy with Killer Khan. Of course, Khan had also been doing the angle as it relates to the Andre the Giant run there, and kind of continuing to be a guy who really you could kind of see as a guy who is pretty aggressive, assertive, and jumping knee, and eventually gets the victory. Dominic DeNucci and Donna Rock Morocco. Morocco, of course, your new Intercontinental Champion within the last couple of weeks. We saw the match, or you heard the review of the match as it relates to Morocco defeating Pedro Morales in the Philly Spectrum, and they actually did do DeNucci one time prior to this. Morocco tears up a sign from a ringside fan. Obviously, he is not happy by any stretch of the imagination with any of this. He is an angry individual and certainly continues to be continually angry, as it were. And again, the match between he and DeNucci, not exactly a barn burner, but DeNucci has been around since the 70s and continues to be a guy that they can build around on a continual basis for the benefit of the viewing public at home. Simplistic stuff, nothing necessarily that I would call worth writing home about. Head scissors, headlocks, and front face locks, basic value there, and tackles, as it were, basic things, and eventually a axe handle to the side of the head by Morocco. Morocco is coming back into the ring, and I believe this is the post-match promo where he basically challenges Bob Backlund again. Challenging Backlund, a pretty big thing. Also spitting on the belt, ultimately at the time, so 1981, 40 years ago. Not exactly something that anyone would be allowed to do without some degree of consequence, as it were. And then we move into another in the series of matches. Curt Hennig in a tag match here again. This time his tag partner is, let's see here, tag team champions. There is a previous match, and it's missing from the lineup that I had written down. So again, kind of another tag team match, and the Moondogs, or Saito and his tag team partner against Hennig and a squash, although this is from Championship Wrestling. And again, Curt Hennig has been used multiple times as an enhancement talent. Obviously, the idea of Fuji and Saito managed by the crafty Lou Albano. Punch kick, lots of martial arts maneuvers by the Japanese team, obviously. Fuji, much more athletic than a lot of people give him credit for. We know him as the 80s manager who doesn't really do a heck of a lot. Does take a bump here and there. Of course, most notable for the average fan from, let's say, 35 years ago and plus, is the bumps he takes for the demolition match at WrestleMania 5. But a lot of, like the bombs away by Fuji, among other things, and eventually Fuji and Saito getting the victory here. We move into another match in the series. This is the match that I was going to mention before. Baron Mikel Scicluna and Johnny Roz. Of course, Scicluna and Roz having teamed up multiple times before. That's not new. They are facing the, once again, tag team champions of Rick Martel and Tony Garea. Martel and Garea, multi-time tag team champions, and strong baby faces. Baby faces who I think everybody loves for a number of reasons. Hard shots by the nature of, and again, a tag off by Martel. Martel, going with arm bars, arm locks, and the like, and ultimately hard shots along the way there. Martel managing to do everything he can, kind of doing some sidestep things, kind of doing some hard shots there, and again, Martel with shots along the midsection, and ultimately, there are several types of situations where the kind of the sunset flip and the crossbody leads to a victory for the tag team champions. Tag team champions happy once again with the outcome of that particular contest, and we see continuation of that. Greg Valentine steps through, and Greg Valentine is in your final match of the day. Greg Valentine against Pete Mitchell. Not exactly going to be a match that anybody is terribly writing home about. Takedowns by Valentine with some more traditional wrestling maneuvers along the way, and doing what he can where he can in that direction. Valentine rolls the man over, gets the shot at the hamstrings, drives the knee in, and gets what he can. Tosses the man to the outside and eventually gets the figure four for the victory. Valentine, a big star in the 81-82 era, and eventually gets matches with Bob Backlund that a lot of people thought he was going to win. We will move forward into the next in the series here, and we'll be back with more right after this.